Hey guys, what's up? It's Patu, and welcome back to another episode of Unova Month. If y'all don't know and are new to the channel, Unova Month is going to be a month of December where we cover everything Unova themed, so Gen 5, Black and White, anything you can really think of. And today I actually want to talk about a very interesting plush group that I have in my collection, and as well as that I really want to get the rest of set up. And that is the Jakks Pacific Generation 5 Set 1. Now, I kind of want to do every set that we have for Generation 5, so which I believe is about 4 sets they made in total from the game's perception and how Jakks Pacific made them until like the last set. Maybe this month I'll cover all of them. I'm going to try my best to, and then at the end of the month I'll probably put them all together. But I'm really excited to talk about this as it is one of my favorites and actually my first set of plushies that I ever had. I have only like half of the plushies in the collection. However, I do want to talk about those and as well as that talk about the ones that I don't have. And the set that they have is Oshawott, Snivy, Tepig, Pidove, Muna, and Sandile. And while I have a few of these guys, some of these guys I actually need to add to the collection sometime soon, so I'd actually love to get this plush collection and finish the set. It would be very awesome for me as a personal collector. I'd love to finish it and maybe in the future do the other sets. But I'm going to just talk about these collection video. I'm going to talk about all these plushies in the set. And I'm going to tell y'all what I think about them, my review, and my personal rating on all of them. And then, like I said, if y'all like this, I might actually do set 2 through 4. We shall see. But let's start off with the best boy. And we're talking about Oshawott. So, Oshawott, if you haven't seen my videos and don't know, Oshawott is obviously one of the mascots. Actually, the 3 starters from Gen 5 is my mascots. But Oshawott is, of course, my favorite Pokemon in all of Pokemon for the most part. He's also tied with, like, Lycanroc and with Poochyena, but they're not a part of Unova. We don't care about them. But this plushie for Oshawott I actually have in my collection, and I'm actually giving one away. So if you haven't entered the giveaway on my channel, go look down, and I'll actually have it in the description below. So go join that Oshawott giveaway. We have another Oshawott from Jazzbears we're giving away. But that Oshawott that I do have in my collection, he is a personal favorite, obviously, because it was the first Oshawott plush I ever got. And I honestly think it's a pretty solid Oshawott. However, I'm going to give it only like a 7 out of 10 just because there is some things that I'm not truly a fan of. One thing being the little awkward smile he has on his face. The awkward smile I'm not really a fan of. I really like the otter mouth, how they have it kind of like an upside down V on most of the plushies. That is honestly how I like my plushies by. I really love having that like upside down V reaction. It just looks like a normal animal when it does that, but whenever he has a little smile, it just kind of reminds me of a clown, I'll be honest. I love Oshawott, but the clown face is not the best. I do love the freckles too. The freckles are a really good part. One thing that I will say as well though is that the head and the nose are always misshapen. Whenever you get one of these plushies, they were not very good at having them all seem the same. So you'll have one with like a misshapen head, or the nose will be the wrong area, or the nose will be like upside down a little bit, or it just kind of won't be an oval. And then if you move down to the body is pretty cool. The hands are pretty normal. The body is Oshawott shaped. I'll say it's Oshawott shaped. The toes are kind of weird because they're kind of like on the side instead of just down below to where he's kind of standing. So it kind of looks like he has awkward feeding. But the one thing that I do want to talk about the body that I'm also kind of about is the shell they have on their body. So with the body, it's like I said, pretty well made. The shell will be very different from every other plush. So you'll have one shell where it looks perfect. However, there'll be another one where it's just kind of a circle. You can't even really distinct the shell from each other. And so from that, I think I want to give it a 7 out of 10. Still a very excellent plushie. One of my favorites in my collection. Obviously with it being Oshawott. And it's kind of middle of the road for me whenever I rank them. And then next up, a very interesting fact about this one, we're going to talk about Snivy. And I did get Snivy at the same time that I got Tepig, that I got a Muna, and that I got the Oshawott. However, the one difference is all of those I've had to replace throughout the years because my old dog, Halo, rest in peace, Halo, kind of torn them up whenever he was a puppy. So sadly, I don't have those anymore, at least the originals. But Snivy, I still have the original of. And I'm very happy to say he is still holding up perfect. He may be missing his tags because I think I cut off his tag a long time ago, but you know what? He's still one of my favorite plushies, and he's always been out on my collection, and basically the whole time I've started collecting. I think out of all the main starters, Snivy might be the most, like, honestly strongest of the three when it comes to design wise and how it looks. I do really love how his tail, unlike most Snivy plushies nowadays, isn't like fully stuffed. It's just kind of like felt on there that was stitched together to the Snivy plush, and I think it's a really excellent plush in my collection. It's honestly my favorite Snivy just in general because with that little felt on there, it actually seems like a leaf. Because whenever you have the like more padded out, stuffed up Snivy, when you have the when you have the more padded and stuffed up snivy tails, it kind of looks like a weird butt. But for me, I feel like the felt works perfectly, even though it doesn't always stand. If you have it pressed up against something, it will stay there. I think the hands look great. They're also just kind of felt. It's just really good at keeping it looking very, very slim. I love how the eye looks. The eye shows off that really good personality. And if you are like me, you consider Snivy's female, like how Ash had in the anime. I've always considered Snivy being a female, so this honestly just pulls off a very feminine look for me. It like looks like a really good plushie. I'm assuming whenever I'm doing this, you're actually gonna just see me looking and showing off the plushie, which if I am, then thank God for that. But I'm gonna give this guy a good 8 out of 10. I do really like this. My one downfall is I've noticed with this one that I actually own, as well as another one that I actually have in my car, because I do have the OG Oshawa and I have the OG Tepic or OG. I have the OG Oshawa and the OG Snivy in my car that I actually got from Akari for pretty cheap. And they have a really weird thing with their chins now, where their chins kind of start to like point out, so it looks like an awkward, like honestly, like a mega chin kind of thing. So I'm like, ugh. But all in all, pretty decent plush. And finally, I think the only one that I actually have from set 1 still at the moment, and that is going to be the fire starter, Tepig. Now, Tepig, I think looks really good. Honestly, it's more slimmer than you would maybe think of Tepig, because whenever I think of Tepig, I do think of a chubby little pig. However, he's a pretty slim first plush, and out of the three, he was actually given the most like personality, I believe. He has a really angry eye, or like an action eye, instead of the normal like big-eyed smile that you would see in most of his plushies. It looks like he's getting ready to attack, so his body proportions are kind of different from just like sitting in normal. He looks like he's about to pounce, which is actually really, really cute. And he just has a look of determination on his face. And honestly, it is one of my favorites out of the collection. I'm actually looking at him right now as I'm talking about this, and he does not have any disproportions that I could think of. His tail looks great, his body looks great. Only thing I can think of is he's a little slimmer. So if you like a slimmer Tepig, then this is probably your choice. However, if you want a more plump Tepig, I do suggest the brand Presto or maybe the Pokemon Center. Those are the ones that I also have as well. But all in all, I think that Tepig is a pretty renowned like plush. He's pretty well. I think they all three starters look perfect together. They look amazing in my opinion, and I think they're pretty good. I'm gonna rate Tepig, like, honestly, I'm gonna give them a 9 out of 10. I think Tepig is the more stronger one of the three. Now looking at it, I thought it was gonna be Snivy, but now looking at all three of them, I will say that Tepig seems to be my favorite. But now with that, we do move on to the three that I actually don't have in my collection just yet. I do really hope to get them. Two of which I actually don't even have a plush at all in my collection, which I'm like, oh, that's terrible. But that's going to start out with Sandile. Now, Sandile, whenever I was looking back at this, I'm actually really surprised that Sandile was actually a part of this collection. I don't remember ever seeing a Sandile plush in stores back when I was younger. I remember seeing Oshawott, Tepig, Pansage, stuff like that, but I do not remember. I just don't have any memory of having Sandile anywhere in any kind of stores, like Walmart or Target. But I think it's a pretty well plush. I think this is honestly the best Sandile plush they've made. It'd be arguable if it's better than Sitting Cuties, but honestly for me, I feel like the Sandile's proportions are perfect. The face looks like a normal Sandile plush. There's not much to say about Sandile, especially since I don't have him in my collection. I'm gonna rate him a good, like, let's say 8 out of 10. I'm gonna call him 8 out of 10. So he's not bad. but he's not perfect. He is the best that I've seen. However, I haven't seen too many Sandile plushies, and I haven't seen the Pokemon Center Sandile plush yet, ever, like just in general, besides like some promotional pictures. So honestly, that may have an upper stance, but I don't know for sure. And then the final one from this collection, which honestly I didn't know too much about it until looking back, because this is also like in the Sandile realm, where I didn't really see too many of these ever, either in store or on Macari when I've been looking for plushies, and that is the Jakks Pacific Pidove. Now, Pidove actually does look pretty decent for what it is. It is just the pigeon Pokemon, so at least the second variation of a pigeon Pokemon. Pidgey kind of has that first portion. But I do think Sandile but I do think that P- but I do think that P-Dove is one of the stronger options when it comes to these sets. I do really like how it just kind of looks like the art, in my opinion. The sewing looks correct from what I've seen. The body doesn't have too many dysmorphia portions where it kind of looks weird, or it's head-shaped weird body, whatever. One thing that I have noticed from a few of these though are the nose tend to go down, which the Jakks Pacific and their bird Pokemon do not have a tendency to be very good with this kind of thing happening, such as the Starly plush that I actually have. His nose is kind of pointing down, so if you have it pressed weirdly and it starts to form that way, you will have a very weird looking Pidove. Besides that, I think it's a pretty decent plush. I do really like this Pidove. Whenever it comes out, I do probably plan to get this plush as well for Jakks Pacific, if I can find one for a decent price, I should say. All these plushies I do want to find for decent prices, so if I'm able to do that, that would be amazing, and I would love that. For now, I'm just going to look at its beauty. I'm going to say that's pretty decent for a Pidove plush. There's not too many besides Sitting Cuties and what? Maybe Tommy made one? I don't know. And that was set 1 for Pokemon Black and White's Jakks Pacific line. Now, if you really like this video and want to hear more of me just talking, I didn't really have a script for this one. I'm just kind of going based off of what I've seen. So maybe some of the other ones that I do in the future this month will have more scripted elements. But besides that, I liked it. I'll be honest. I really like Jakks Pacific. I do like their awkwardness sometimes. I do love this generation, and I do love the set 1 that they made. It's honestly one of my favorite sets just because of the memories that it has. Shout out to my friend Carter, who actually got me a lot of these for my birthday back whenever I didn't even have a 3DS yet. I didn't even have a DS yet. That was the same year I got a 3DS. And it was just honestly a perfect year for me. And Black and White is such a memorable part of my childhood. That's why I have Unova month. I don't have a Sinnoh month. I don't have a Johto month. I have a Unova month. And I'm super, super happy to say I'm going to give this Jakks Pacific line a good 8 out of 10. I do really like the plushies they have in there. All the starters, it was perfect. But the question is, how's set 2 gonna look in the future when we take a look at it? Alright guys, thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, make sure you like button and subscribe. I'd love to know which part of the set is your favorite. So just let me know from set 1, which one of these guys would you either buy or do you already have? I'd love to know. That's gonna be it for me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye! Okay, guys. I have something very, very awesome. Oh my gosh. So, if you don't know, I did a video last Saturday talking about the Set 1 plushies from Pokemon Jakks Pacific for Gen 5 Black and White. It's a whole video. Go check it out. I actually really enjoyed doing this video. We have another one coming out later. I think we have 2 actually coming out next week, so stay tuned for that. However, that same day that the video went up, I got something really, really awesome that came in. I'm freaking out right now. I'm gonna be honest, seeing it. I've just been staring at it since I got it. If you're on Reddit, if you've seen me from Reddit, you've already seen this like a few days before. I'm gonna show it off real quick. Let me grab the box. Okay, so we have the box right here. As soon as I grabbed it, I was like, oh my god. I am so, okay, this is going to be one of my actual plush grails. You know it's Unova month. I've been talking about it all month, so the fact that we have a Unova item that I've been not really searching for, but that I found is perfect. I'm super, super excited about it. So without further ado, I'm just gonna grab it and we're gonna talk about it real quick. Alright, we're gonna talk about the set 1 of Jakks Pacific, and oh my goodness. This looks amazing.
if you can't see, all 6 of the plushies that I talked about last Saturday are in there, and most of them have tags. There's 2 that are missing tags, Sandile and Tepig. However, it's still a very cool find. Sandile himself is already very rare, so the fact that I found one in general is very cool, but in the future, maybe I'll go look for a tag, and then just having all these guys together for the first time in probably a decade for me, it's amazing. I didn't own Pidove and Sandile myself, however the fact that I actually have them now, as well as some of the ones that actually started my collection of plush collecting, which speaking of that, that's my original Snivy that is right here. We're going to compare the 2 later, but this is amazing. We're going to go through and I'm going to show them all off, so give me a second and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have the box right here that I actually want to talk about first, so I'm going to start pulling these guys out, which, oh my goodness, this is so cool just having these guys all out of here. Oh my god, something that I already noticed about this Tepig, but I'm going to wait until we get the Tepig. Oshawott, oh my god, a tagged Oshawott and Pidove. Okay, so first off, with the box, you can see it has a little bit of damage right here. However, I'm not complaining. I think, honestly, if I could, like, press it up like that, it might end up going back to the previous way it was kind of folded, which would be perfect. If not, I'm not going to complain too much, though. Look at these good arts of Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott. I'm going to be honest, I know this Snivy picture so much. However, these Oshawotts and Tepig, I don't know if I'm going to say they're newer to me. However, they do look like they're not as popular as that Snivy PNG image usually is, which, seeing a new Oshawott picture is always very nice to me. We get over here and they are mini plush, so I guess they were just referred to as mini plushies. However, I don't think that Jakks Pacifc really had any like Pokemon plushies about that smaller size, or bigger size I should say. But yeah, and then on the back, same exact thing as well. We have ourselves the black and white hafting is so nice. We have ourselves the images of everybody once again, very adorable. I love that Oshawott art. Then we go to the side. Same thing, same exact thing, however, black and white for the halves. We got the old style Jakks Pacifc logo from the early 2000s/2010. We have Zekrom and Reshiram, which is always really cool to see. And we have the Pokemon logo. And then if we go to the back, once again, it's just going to be repeating the stuff. I'm going to be honest, like I said. However, it is saying mini plush again. Very cool though. I'm super excited to have this in the collection because if you don't know, I do have a few of these actually. I have one for the Corduroy and I have one from like just the regular Jazzbirds plushies, and as well as that, I recently got a Kirby one, but it's kind of all the way over there and I don't want to grab it, so just smile like chunk for later. But I do have a Kirby one that I actually got a few days ago whenever I did that big old thrift store haul from Target. But now having a black and white one, this is going to be the one that's going to be my favorite for sure. Even though it has some damage, right there. You can see some damage from it being old right there. However, I still think it's a very nice grail piece. Even though it's such a simple thing, like a little box you wouldn't think would be that crazy to have. However, it means the world to me that I finally have one of them in my collection. And honestly, I didn't know I wanted one, but now that I have it, I'm in love with it. It's so cool seeing all my OGs right here. But now we're going to actually get to sharing and showing off the plushies. And I do want to start off with Snivy. We of course have Snivy's tail right here. Snivy is like the one that I see a lot more folding on just because of the way that it is. Whenever I got it, right here was kind of like folded inwards. However, no muscle mess up with that. The arms are kind of weird right now, so I'm trying to like fold them back. However, I do kind of like the sassy look that it kind of is giving off. Maybe in the past it kind of like had that anyway, which is really cool. The tail is kind of like folding in like that, which I'll try to fix it up, but if not, I'm not too worried about it. It's just going to be off for mainly showing in the box. However, it looks really nice. I see the Giga Chin is kind of coming in, however, it's not too crazy. But we also have ourselves the OG Snivy that I got a long time ago. Let's compare these two together. You can see just how different these two kind of look. Honestly, from starting off, this one seems to have a more puffed out chest rather than this one. Honestly, I kind of don't know how it does that. I think it just has to be from Jakks Pacifc being one of those brands where a lot of the plushies are going to be kind of different no matter what. They're not very good at like having the perfect plush no matter where you go through. So like say if they have Munas, all the Munas are going to look, one's going to look ball shaped, the other one's going to look like a tumor. That's all I'm going to say. But these two right here, from being whenever I first purchased one to where I purchased one now, You can see it's kind of different. The faces look very similar. However, this one has more of a pointed out nose, while this one has more of a curved, which is very, very cool. I'm gonna be honest, this one looks more masculine, this one looks more feminine, which is actually, that kind of works out. And then we have mine actually has its hand staying down while this one kind of grabs on. The legs look a lot smaller, either they're a lot smaller or they're kind of pointed out differently, which also may just be the way that it was standing in there. Here is the tails. Tails don't look too different. This one seems to be a little bit easier, while this one kind of folds in. This one just falls down because it's a very flat, leafy tail. But a very nice difference in these plushies. Honestly, having these two plushies, but one of them be different, is just, honestly, it's pretty cool. I enjoy it. I enjoy that. I'm gonna be saying honestly a lot. I'm so sorry about that, guys. But these two guys are together. It's gonna be the box one, and then my own personal ones are gonna always be in the collection. However, it's nice to see two variations of the same plushie and just see how different they are. Weirdly enough, I have another one. I have a third one in my car. If I remember, I'll put it in the video, but honestly, I'll probably edit this video before I even go back to my car later tomorrow. But a very interesting difference of these two plushies. Next up, another one that we already have in the collection. We have ourselves the Oshawott, and thankfully this Oshawott does not have the weird nose where it's kind of to the side. It does have the feet kind of sticking out like that, and ooh, thank God the shell looks semi-normal. If you don't know, the shell is very, very weird with these plushies. Either you'll get like a perfect shell, or you're gonna get one of the worst shells ever. And luckily, I think we lucked out with these normal shells. Here we go with the tag. Very awesome. This is probably my favorite one to have with a tag because I love having Oshawotts, and I love having Oshawotts with tags. A lot of the ones that I have don't really have the tag, so seeing an Oshawott with a tag, especially from my OG, especially from the OG plushie collection that I started with, it's very nice. We have the smile. It's kind of messed up on the smile, not like a full little, but you know, it's whatever. Beggars cannot be choosers. Just happy to have one with a tag. And it's honestly a really nice plush. Fun fact, in my 3DS, I have a picture of the OG, like, original Oshawott that I ever had in my collection. Like, a picture of the 3DS, which I don't get why I took a picture of Oshawott. I guess from the beginning I knew Oshawott was going to be my favorite, which I guess works out. But yeah, we do have ourselves Oshawott. This one's also a lot, like, I want to say bulkier, but more like stuffed out than all the other ones. We of course have the beads, but the stuffing feels a lot harder, which I don't know why. It just does not feel as soft as other Jakks specific Oshawotts that I have, which again I have, counting the giveaway one, which I'll talk about later in the video. I think I have 1, 2, 3. I got 4. Okay, so I have 4 now after this guy. 1 will be given away, so 3 after the end of this month, but very nice to see. Next up, we have ourselves Tepig, and if you don't know, I also have Tepig in my collection. Sadly, he is missing his tag. I'm so sad about that, but we do still have our tush tag, and this tush tag is, ooh, nice and crisp. You usually see these guys faded out, but for this guy, very nice to see the full color and everything. 2011, baby. Very awesome to see. We have his little parts up here that don't really stay up, they go down, which I think all Tepig plushies do. The butt is attached, and what I've noticed compared to the other one is that this one does not seem to be in a like pouncing position. The other one was kind of like moved like this to where he was kind of getting ready to pounce. However, he right here looks a lot chubbier. This one looks very, very cute, I'll be honest. However, his back does look kind of weird with the like little pimple kind of tail on his back. But the face looks great. The face is really cute, actually. Look at that. He does look like he has a chubby neck, though, which I can relate. I can relate right now, especially with me gaining weight. But he does look like a lot chubbier than the one that I talked about previously and that I showed off in the previous video. But I think a very nice Tepig plush. Just, it kind of sucks that I couldn't get a tag for this Tepig. But I'm going to be honest, getting all of these guys together, still an incredible find. Alright, and we are moving on. We're moving on to plushies that I actually don't have in my collection yet. And even though I have this Pokemon, which you could actually see up there, I have ourselves the Jakks specific Muna, which I started with. So like I was saying, Muna is either going to look like this, a weird kind of shape, or it's going to be more ball shaped. However, for some reason it looks like whenever they were sewing, a lot of them get this like rhino looking horn sticking out. And so it looks like more of a flat top, just whoosh. down right there, but still very nice. We have ourselves the flowers. They look great, honestly. I think the flowers might be the best part of this plush. It's nice to see no flowers really having deformities right here. They all look very similar to the Tomy one that we have over there, which I think is actually the best time to grab the Tomy and compare them. Obviously, Tomy is bigger. However, I do think they also both like equal out with the same quality of the flowers on there. I do like them. I do honestly think that Tomy maybe has the better one, but I think that might just because it's a little bit bigger, so a little bit nicer quality as compared to the small plushies that they have for Jakks Pacifc, even though it's I think the only brand they did for plush size. But the flowers do look really nice, so you can see that. You can also see the eyes right here. The ones right here for the Tomy have more of a lashed up appearance, while these kind of look like, they kind of remind me of SpongeBob lashes, to be honest, where it's kind of like whoosh, whoosh, but still a very excellent plushie. And then you can't forget about this. The tag, of course, amazing plush quality with the tag. I got to treat this very, very safely. I do not want to ruin this beautiful plushie. But a very nice Muna plush in my opinion. My first Muna plush, and definitely the plush that got me in love with Muna as a Pokemon in Unova. Top 10 Unova Pokemon in my opinion. I do love myself some Muna. So having this version in my collection once again, it sits right at home with me. And then next up, we're going to talk about Hamburger the P-Dove.
What do you know? So P-Dove's a girl. Some lucky break.
So the reason I'm naming him Hamburger is because I put it on Reddit, and I've been talking to some people about this plush set because everybody seems very interested about knowing about this set because not too many knew about it. And one of the people just said, hold P-Dove like a hamburger softly. So I guess we have our name for P-Dove. He will now officially be Hamburger, which look at that. Very, very adorable. This plush is amazing quality in my opinion. First P-Dove plush I've ever had. I never got P-Dove, strangely enough, even though I'm pretty sure it's the more popular of the set, or at least the popular. I say popular. It's kind of like the Pancham of the set, which if you don't know, we have like a little inside joke with Pancham being everywhere in places. Like if you go to Target, you'll find a Pancham. If you go to a GameStop, you'll find a Pancham. Go literally anywhere. If you go to my house, you'll find a Pancham, which you actually will find a Pancham, but I only got one because I like Pancham, but not that much. But we do have ourselves P-Dove. Luckily enough, the nose right here isn't really going down like some of the other ones do. However, you can see it's kind of scrunched up. However, I think that just may be a malfunctioning error that we had, but still a very nice plushie. The sewing looks pretty nice. I think it's honestly really, really good. The felt little toes are also kind of weirdly placed. However, for it being like this, I do think we kind of lucked out with the P-Dove plush, I'll be honest. Compared to our Starly plush, this one's kind of better quality than a Starly. However, I don't think this plush has technically been loved. I'm pretty sure that Starly came from a home of another kid that probably had it in his collection. So having this guy, very, very nice. And then finally, the one that I have been super excited to show off, we have ourselves Sandile. Sandile, I think, is the rarest of the set. You rarely see any Sandile plushies, none less Jakks Pacifc. I know you see Pokemon Center every so often. I do want to point out really quickly that the stuffing does not seem to be in his arm very well right here, so I might have to kind of move some of the stuffing in there. He has a very awkward smile, which is very, very cute, but I like it, even though it's kind of awkward. The snout is kind of weird. However, like I said, it might just be malfunctioning whenever it was made. The eyes look amazing. The stitching part right here looks great. The body altogether looks really, really nice. Crisp. We have the tush tag, but no regular tag, which I'm very, very sad about. So maybe in the future, if I can find a Sandile plush where we actually have the tag, that'd be awesome. But with him being so rare, I don't know if there's going to be too many plushies where they have the Sandile tag. So I'm just going to work out with it and just say Sandile right here is kind of perfect for the collection. But more or less, we do have the parts right here. I do love the pink right here. It's such a pretty color of pink. It goes great with this darker gray / black. And all in all, a very nice Sandile plush. But that is the plushies, guys. So we're going to try to put them back in the box. We're going to figure out where we're going to put them. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit later and we'll end it. So give me a second. I'm going to figure out where I want to put them. But honestly, I still have no idea. thinking maybe right there. I'm thinking about moving some of this stuff out maybe and trying putting it right there. And hell, maybe I'll even put it right here. But from now on, I think we have a lot of space. I might put it right there as well just for the future. But I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly where I'm going to put it. If you have any ideas on where I could probably put this, please let me know. I would love to know. But from now on, I'm like, where? It's hard to figure out. But we'll figure it out later.
Alright guys, so we have ourselves all these plushies right here. I don't know exactly what I'm going to put them or where I'm going to do with them, but I do thank you guys for watching. Like I said earlier, I'm like trying to figure out what place can fit there. I literally don't know. But again, I'm going to ask you guys again, which of your favorites in this set do you like the most? I personally, I don't know. I'm going to have to maybe go Tepig, Snivy, or Sandile. I think Sandile really stole the show. I'm going to be honest. That looks amazing. But he's going to probably be here in the future episodes. Probably going to be around right here maybe. I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. But a Holy Grail plush. The fact that it's all in the box is really, really cool. I'm going to have this guy forever. Maybe in the future I'll look for another box that's actually like not fully broken like that. However, I'm sure after a decade and a half almost, they're all going to look like that. But thank you guys for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Also, don't forget, also relating to Oshawott, we have an Oshawott that we are giving away. We actually have 2 Oshawotts we're giving away. If you want to win this one and the Jazzwares, make sure you enter the video. It's going to be in the link description. And we also have it if you want to check it on the channel. Just gotta be a subscriber, comment, and like on that previous video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Take a second and close your eyes. Go back to 2011 as a kid. If you were just like me, you definitely remember seeing at Toys R Us, Target, Walmart, wherever you would get your Pokemon needs. Let's see, Jakks, Pacifc plushies. Alright, you're good to open them. Hey guys, what's up? It's Meepa2, and we are back with set 2 of the Pokemon Black and White Jakks Pacifc set. I'm super excited to talk about it. It's like one of my favorite sets in the, I think honestly, in plushie history. Sitting Cuties might have an upper up, but I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But today we are here with set 2, and in set 2, it was actually kind of interesting seeing and looking back at what Pokemon that Nintendo and Game Freak considered popular, because they had Jakks Pacifc make a set for Spring Form Deerling, which Deerling is going to be a very popular form that you'll see in the future more. We have Drillbur, Woobat, Axew, and Pansage. So a very weird set, but I do kind of like the weirdness. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember this set as much. I do have a few of the plushies as well, which of course I have a few of the plushies in my set. You know me, of course I have to. But I am very interested in taking a look at this set, because this is the one that I don't really remember. I have the Drillbur, I have some of the other stuff, but for the most part, I thought the set 2 was going to be the evolution, so saying that's not the case is really weird to me. But we're going to take a look. We're going to talk about everything, see exactly what we have, and yeah, let's get right into it. Oh man, I do want to apologize though, guys. I am kind of sick, or at least I'm getting sick, and I don't know why. Oh man, it very much sucks, but we're going to keep on moving on. So first off, I think the most interesting one to look at, and also kind of the creepiest one, we have ourselves the Jakks Pacifc Drillbur. Now, this Drillbur actually has 2 things of, I believe it's like cardboard in his arms, making his arms actually hard. Whether or not that was a good idea, I like it, but also whenever it spins its arms anywhere, it does kind of look kind of awkward, and it's kind of hard to set it up nicely somewhere. So for that part, I'm kind of like giving it a little bit of negative points, but also I do think it's a nice plush. I do think it's a nice plush for the most part. I do enjoy it. I'm happy to have it in my collection. I think I actually have one in my store as well, if anybody's interested in taking a look at that. Free advertisement right there for myself. But yeah, I do like Drillbur. Drillbur, with that, he has a nice body, I think. The body's perfect. I do like how it's formed. The sewing is actually really good for the most part. The one thing I do want to talk about, though, are those godforsaken eyes. They are very, very creepy. How Drillbur's supposed to be, it's supposed to have like a whitish head, and as well as that have white eyes, but they're supposed to be different colors of white. However, whenever he was made, that was not the case. So with Drillbur, his eyes are white, but it kind of like goes into the actual plush like fabric once they've gotten older. So now Drillbur just looks very, very awkward. He has a very creepy smile and a creepy stare, just because the pupils seem to be the only thing that really like are noticeable in that plush. But all in all, I do think it's a pretty decent plush. Next up, another one that I actually have, and we're going to talk about Woobat. And I think this is honestly the best Woobat plush you could really make. It's a very simple design. I do like how instead of just the regular fabric, they actually made him really, really fuzzy. I do really like the aspect because you don't really see that too many Jakks Pacific plushies with that fuzzier demeanor and look. However, I do really like it. The one thing is, with it being so fuzzy, some of the stuff kind of blends in, like the eyes are kind of hard to notice. It has a tendency to start matting and it looks kind of weird. I need to give mine a bath personally because I got mine pre-owned, but for the most part I do like it. It's usually pretty well shaped. The nose looks pretty good except for the sewing. The sewing could be fixed, I will say, especially on the nose, but you know, when it's Jakks Pacific, it's a smaller plushie. You get what you pay for. It's about $10 back then, and you could probably find it for like $5 now. So it's not too bad. I do really like the felt on the wings. The felt wings are very, very good. I do love it. And I think the mouth looks perfect for what it's going for. All in all, a very simple plushie, but also it's Woobat. It's a simple Pokemon, so it works out.
And next up, we have ourselves Pansage. Now, I actually have the Jakks Pacific reversible Pansage. However, it's a little bit different from the current one that they have that I won't be showing off. But there is some features that are very similar. First off, the head shape is exactly the same, just no Pokeball that you can reverse into it. And on mine, I have a much lazier head. However, the hair piece looks great. It has a lot more fuzz to it than you would see in normal plushies, so it kind of gives off that like broccoli feeling, but it's a pretty nice like difference that you would see from other plushies. I talked about Woobat and its differences, so the fact that we actually have some differences for Pansage as well in this exact same set, very cool. The body's very small, and I don't know personally if Pansage can hold up by himself. It looks like it from the pictures I have seen. However, mine does not, because that head is way too heavy for the skinny little body. But I do think the plush works well, pretty much good enough.
And then next up we have ourselves the Spring Form Deerling. I don't have this version of Deerling, but I do have a Deerling that we'll talk about later. They are all the same, which I guess is a pretty smart idea on their part. They have all these like special forms for Deerlings, so might as well do every plush set with a Deerling. However, they only made 3 out of the 4, which is kind of weird. They probably should have put the other form in the set 1, but it's whatever, I guess. We'll just have one form that does not have a plush. But I do think it's a really, really cute plushie for the most part. I do like the Deerling. The tail is great. The ears are great. The one thing that kind of scares me is like the top flower that's on its head made out of felt. I'm kind of like, oh, that's very, very scary. It might fall off after a little bit of time, especially if you play with it a lot. I obviously don't play with mine. It's for more of a collector kind of aspect. However, if you have a kid that plays with it a lot, I'm sure there's probably a lot of Deerlings that have lost the felt on its head. But still, I think it's a pretty nice plush. It's a lot skinnier than you would see most other of the Jakks Pacific plushies, which take with that what you will. I don't really have an opinion on it. It looks great. I got the green one that I'm looking at right now, but I believe the pink one is kind of. I think that the pink one or the I don't know. I think the one that they didn't make is the one that I would have preferred the most. But yeah, for the most part, I do think this Deerling plush is pretty exceptional. I do like it. I got it a few years ago, at least the version I have, which we'll talk about in an actual thing. And the pink coloring is nice. I will say the pink coloring is really pretty. It is the OG color for Deerling, so having it as the first one made sense. However, I do kind of want to give it points off because they have so many copycats that come off right after it. Next off, we're going back to a more chubbier plushie with Minccino, and I'm going to be honest, I do have this Minccino plush, and while I was kind of like, I don't care about Minccino, I'm starting to really like this Minccino plushie. The ears are like twice the size, of what I think they should be, but it's perfect. It worked out greatly. It's like the same size as the body. The body is a little chubby body, kind of reminds me of Pikachu's body that you would see in a Jakks Pacific plushie. The head is a perfect shape. It works great. It's not like sagging down like my Pansage plush that I have. Granted, the Pansage plush is like the reversible ones. However, I do think this Minccino plush is really, really nice in quality. It might honestly be the best one of the set. I'm trying to figure that out. I think it might be between that, or if you can find a nice Drillbur, it might be between him and Minccino, but I think I'm gonna give the points to Minccino for this one. So I'm like going through this all without a script really. I'm just kind of talking about reviewing and how I see them. However, I'm also looking at Axew. I forgot I had Axew as well. I got him at the same time I got Woobat. And I think this Axew plush is actually really nice. I didn't have it as a child, but I wish I did. I love me some Axew. However, Dino is becoming a little bit further up, and Boomy, of course, kind of taking this spot for my favorite. However, I do think the felt on his mouth looks perfect. The eyes are great to me. The coloring, while it's about, I mean, it's kind of like army colors, I think. That's my best way to describe it. It's like an army green from what I can, like, distinguish. It's hard for me to distinguish the greens, but it looks like more of an army or green. And I do like the plushie. I do like Axew a lot. It reminds me of a little baby dragon, which is what Axew's trying to do. And I think the plush form is very adorable. It reminds me so much of Iris's Axew. Very adorable plushie. And I honestly, I'm going to put it over Drillbur whenever it comes to these plushies. Maybe it's going to be titled Minccino, but I think Minccino probably has it in the bag when it comes to these plushies. Not much to say about this little Axew besides it's a really, really adorable. I love how the portions are. Has that chubbier body that you see with most Jakks Pacific plushies, little arms, little legs. And all in all, I think that the sewing on it works perfect with what it's trying to go for. It kind of blends in a little bit better than you would see with other plushies, and I'm a fan of it. And that is it for set 2 of the Jakks Pacific plushie set. I'm super excited to talk about set 3 later. I know this one was a little bit quick. I am a little sick, like I said, so we're just going to keep on going through it. I'm hoping to feel a little bit better by the time I do set 3, and maybe we can make it a little bit longer. However, for the most part, I think this is a pretty decent review of them. Not as long as the last episode, but I think we were able to get through and talk about it. So I'm really excited, and yeah. I'm going to head out, guys. I'm gonna definitely get something for this cold medicine that I need some cold medicine, especially since I'm going on Six Flags on, Saturday I'm going on Six Flags. So whenever that other video is coming up, I'll be at Six Flags, so hopefully I'm not as sick then. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe. Question of the day, of course. What's your favorite from the set? I would love to know. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out! Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, Batu, and we are back here. I know I said I was going to do it for Unova month, and I really, guys, I really apologize. However, I kind of got busy with life, and we are here in the month of February, oddly enough, to do the rest of Unova month, at least the videos that I wanted to do. Today we're going to be covering the Jakks Pacific Pokemon Black and White Set 3. This is where they actually have some evolutions as well as some more unique Pokemon, so I'm really excited to show off what they have in here. Some of these guys you've maybe seen on my channel as well. I will talk about that, and you'll probably see the videos from that later in the video. But yeah, let's get right into it, shall we? So first off, we're going to be talking about Pignite, and oh my gosh. Pignite is just the roundest boy out of them all. He honestly, out of the 3 second middle edge evolutions, whatever you want to call it, he is probably my favorite looking one out of here. He just represents a plush so well. I like it when they actually do the plushies where they actually kind of look a little bit chubbier. The chubbier Pokemon or the more round Pokemon are always so cute whenever they actually get transformed into plushes. So the fact that we have a Pokeplush of Pignite, and he's just such an adorable little guy. He's kind of flat, which is the only thing I'm kind of like, I I feel like it'd be so much nicer if they made him a little bit rounder. He's round whenever it comes to more of his shape. However, whenever he comes to wideness, he's not really a spear. He's like an awkward little oval. He kind of reminds me of Stunfisk. How you imagine Stunfisk would be in width, that's kind of how he looks. I still think he's a pretty good plushie. I do love the little ball tail they gave him. And even though a lot of people don't like him personally as Pokemon, I am okay with him. Out of the three, he's probably personally my least favorite when it comes to the actual Pokemon, but he's definitely my favorite of the three when it comes to the plushie form. I just love him. He's such a cute little guy. I remember having him as a child, and now that I have him again a few years later in my 20s, still one of my favorites from this set. And then next up, another one that you probably assume would be my favorite, however, with Pignite beating it out, I'm going to say this and the other one are going to be tied, and that is Duat. I do really like Duat. The only thing that I have to say is that his felt on his whiskers, I'm not a big fan of. It's just very, very flimsy. It looks like it's going to tear at any moment, and I'm just terrified of what will happen if I accidentally just pull on it a little too hard. Thankfully, right now, he's safe. He's perfectly safe right now, but knowing him, it's going to be a little bit harder. I do really like the colors, though. The coloration of white and the, like, tealish blue. It's such a beautiful color. I love me my little water types, and the fact that we're able to have a water type of my favorite Pokemon, Oshawott. We were actually able to give him a plushie so quickly in, like, the lifespan of Pokemon Black and White. It's a really nice thing for me, and in my opinion, very nice plush either way. I will say the only thing, like I said, is the felt, but everything else honestly works perfect. I do think he pulls off that very cool plushy feel that a lot of these guys have. If you're wanting Duat, he's more of a cooler Pokemon than maybe the Derpy or Pignite. And I think that honestly kind of relays pretty well whenever you get him into a plush. But like I said, whenever it comes to them, I like my Pokemon plushies a little bit rounder. I love my Oshawott ones because they got that big old round head and that little oval body. But with Duat, he's a lot more complicated and a lot skinnier. So it's a little harder to really represent him pretty well. But he is a little bit better than the next one we're going to be talking about. And then the next one we're going to be talking about, I just think it's really hard to give this Pokemon a pretty good plushie. The whole evolution set's kind of hard, and that is Servine. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the Servine plushie. It is not a bad plushie at all. In my opinion, it's one of the better ones that I've seen, although there hasn't been too many Servine plushies. There's only been a few, and then I believe we have a Pokemon Center one, we have this one, maybe a Tell Me one, I doubt it. And then we have Sitting Cuties, of course, and I do think this is probably one of the more solid ones. However, with him being just a flimsy little leaf snake, it's very, very hard to really give him a perfect plushie. Same thing happened with Snivy. Snivy I do really like, but that also is nostalgia really hitting me. I do really like the effects of the tail being a lot flimsier, unlike the more stuffed tails they seem to be having right now. And I think it works out pretty well. However, like I said, it's just a very flimsy plushie, so if you end up getting him, very, very much be careful. He is a very scary little plush, and you don't want to tear him. However, if you like having these guys set up together, and you really like Snivy like my girlfriend does, I do think this might be a very good plushie for you. Next up, we're going to talk about Deerling. Deerling looks the exact same as the other ones that I was talking about. I'm not going to spend too much time on there. I do like the coloration, though. It works perfect for the season that's going for. However, there's not much to say right now with Deerling on this part. Considering I gave him a whole little part in the last episode, I'm just going to kind of show that. So let's hit it with that real quick. Deerling. I don't have this version of Deerling, but I do have a Deerling that we'll talk about later. They are all the same, which I guess is a pretty smart idea on their part. They have all these like special forms for Deerling, so might as well do every plush set with a Deerling. However, they only made 3 out of the 4, which is kind of weird. They probably should have put the other form in the set 1, but it's whatever, I guess. We'll just have one form that does not have a plush. But I do think it's a really, really cute plushie for the most part. I do like the deerling. The tail is great. The ears are great. The one thing that kind of scares me is like the top flower that's on its head made out of felt. I'm kind of like, oh, that's very, very scary. It might fall off after a little bit of time, especially if you play with it a lot. I obviously don't play with mine. It's for more of a collector kind of aspect. However, if you have a kid that plays with it a lot, I'm sure there's probably a lot of deerlings that have lost the felt on its head. But still, I think it's a pretty nice plush. It's a lot skinnier than you would see most other of the Jakks Pacific plushies, which take with that what you will. I don't really have an opinion on it. It looks great. I got the green one that I'm looking at right now, but I believe the pink one is kind of. I think that the pink one or the on. I don't know. I think the one that they didn't make is the one that I would have preferred the most. But yeah, for the most part, I do think this Deerling plush is pretty exceptional. I do like it. I got it a few years ago, at least the version I have, which we'll talk about in an actual thing. And the pink coloring is nice. I will say the pink coloring is really pretty. It is the OG color for Deerling, so having it as the first one made sense. However, I do kind of want to give it points off because they have so many copycats that come off right after it. And then next up, we have ourselves Scraggy. And I think this kind of takes the best of both worlds when it comes to Dewott and it comes to the Pig Knight plushies we talked about earlier. With Scraggy, he has such that round, adorable little head, and I think it works perfect for him. Scraggy's such a derpy looking Pokemon. He looks very awkward most of the time, kind of scary. I feel like if you show a little kid the picture of Scraggy, they might be either really in love with it or they're going to be terrified of him. He just kind of has that face. However, I think the round head works perfect for the plush, but then you get into a skinnier body, and that kind of becomes a point where it's like, I don't know if this is representing as a good plushie, but in my opinion, I do think they did pretty well with what they were giving. Scraggy's just an awkward Pokemon, like I said, so the fact that they actually gave him a plush this early on probably works considering they caught it probably from the. My assumption is they definitely got it from the anime. Whenever Ash got the Scraggy, they probably just started doing the plushies. I might be wrong. I didn't do that much research, I'll be honest. I'm just reviewing the plushies as is. Maybe I'll do a history up for them in the future, but for now, I do think Scraggy is a pretty decent plushie. All right, and we are here to the final plushie, and it's honestly my favorite plushie, I think, out of the line, and that is Zorua. The Zorua plushie is such a cute little guy. He, of course, is one of the more popular Pokemon from the Black and White era. If you think about the more popular Pokemon, you'd probably think of like Lucario, Gengar, just those really popular Pokemon that probably came before the generation. Gengar didn't do that, but Lucario for sure. And I think it worked out really well how they actually made him. He just looks like a silly little fox. He's such a sly little guy, and they had that perfectly represented with the face, with the ears, with the coloration. The like dark blackish purple is such a perfect coloration in my opinion, and it's topped off with that cherry red. At least I'm really hoping it's cherry red. I might be wrong. You might want to correct me, guys. Please correct me. That's not cherry red. But I do think the plushie turned out such a beautiful color. I really, really like that purple, like blackish coloration, like I said, and it might be my favorite out of the set. Honestly, I'm gonna say yes, it is my favorite out of the set. It was one that I had as a child, so now that I have it again, super, super happy, super stoked to have it. And I think this one is probably the one out of that whole set, like I was talking about, that I would say get it if you get an opportunity. One of the better Zoro plushies, in my opinion. There's a bunch of Zoro plushies for sure. However, for me, with the nostalgia and then just going over it and looking at it again, honestly, it's a really good plushie. All right, and that was it from me, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe. I would love to know what your favorite plush from the set is. Like you heard from me, Zorua for sure. However, I do want to get y'all's opinion. What do you guys think about this plush set? Was it a win? Was it a loss? I would love to know. We have set 4 coming in the future, maybe next weekend. I'm not gonna promise anything, but if you're watching this in the way past future, it's already probably come out. So maybe go watch that. But thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. Adios. And we are finally here, guys. What's up? It's me, Batu, and we're finally at set 4 and the final set of Jakks Pacifc Pokemon plushies of Black and White. And I am super stoked. It's been a very fun journey from December showing off the first one, to showing off the second, to the one that I actually got, where I got the whole plush set like completed with tags, which is amazing. And the recent third one, and now we're here with the finale, and I'm super excited. I'm hoping maybe next week as well to have the whole set of the video just kind of out. That would be amazing. I don't know for sure. We'll kind of get to that whenever we get to that. But I'm not going to keep on talking for too long. We're going to get right into the set. We're going to be starting off with a few plushies that we've already talked about, strangely enough. It's a very unique set, but there's a few weird ones they for some reason decided to do. So with a very unique plush set like this, you get a few weird ones, and I'm going to start off with one we've already talked about, and that, strangely enough, is Woobat. Now, I understand what they've been doing with Deerling and doing all the seasons, which, strangely enough, they didn't do in the first set, which makes us miss one of the Deerling seasons, which doesn't make sense at all, considering they're doing all 3 of them, but they didn't want to do the 4th one, and it's such a weird ramble, but it's also very confusing as to why they did that. I don't understand that at all. But with Woobat, they just released Woobat again. They're just doing Woobat again. It's so weird. It's a very awkward position that I'm in, where it's like, do I review him again? Or do I just say, go watch the other video? Which I'm kind of leaning towards. But I will do a quick little assumption and say, yeah, let's do a quick little representation and description of him. Woobat is just a big ball. He has some felt bat wings, and the fur is honestly very adorable. Unless you get it all dirty and it gets all matted, which in that state is it's not good at all. However, you keep yours clean. I do think it's one of the best Woobat plushies out there. Definitely a good representation of Woobat, the perfect representation in my opinion. And then once again, we're back here with Deerling. And I do like this Deerling color. The orange is honestly my favorite of the bunch, I think. However, once again, man, they just really had to redo the plushie. It's what makes these sets really hard to give an A+ like listing to, because they just keep on copying and copying the same sets, and it's getting kind of annoying at this point. They have such unique Pokemon after this. However, they start doing this, and I'm kind of like, oh, man. I'm just over it when they do this for the 3rd time, another Deerling. Maybe if they did it again for the first set, it would have been okay because we would have gotten all 4. But now we're here with an incomplete Deerling set, and it's just pretty good Deerling plush. However, if you want to do a full set, I do represent getting the Sitting Cuties. I think that'd probably be the best way for your buck. If you get Sitting Cuties, you actually get all 4 forms, which I think is a winner in that case. Next up, we're here with the meat and potatoes of everything. We're actually getting new plushies, and I'm going to start off with Panpour. Now, Panpour, strangely enough, was after 2 sets from the original Pan stage they did in set 2. So we're now in set 4. That's 2 sets, at least how I'm doing it. And they didn't do a 5th set. If they did it, they'd have to put Pansear, I feel like. However, with a, I'm just going to say, canceled / undeveloped 5th set, they never gave Pansear the actual treatment of getting a 3rd plush, which would have been pretty cool. Pansear just does not get a lot of love, so it's kind of sad seeing him not get a lot of love. I do need to use one in a future playthrough, but that's off topic. I do think the coloration of a Pansage, like I said with most blues that come in Pokemon, very beautiful. I do think it works great. Panpour is one of my favorites out of the bunch. He honestly probably is my favorite out of the bunch, and I think it works perfectly for him as a little plush. I just really like him and Semipour. It just works perfectly for me, in my opinion. They're beautiful plushies, and I do think you should get it. Honestly, out of the bunch of Panpour plushies, this is probably the better one. I say bunch of Panpour plushies, the 3 I think he has a third. I think he does have one on Pokemon Center besides Sitting Cutie. So I think out of the bunch, this might be the better one for you. Definitely the cheaper one, I'd assume. And then next up, everybody's least favorite rodent. Sorry, little guy, we have ourselves a Pat Rat. I do like Pat Rat as a plush, as a Pokemon. He's a good HM user. He knows how to use Cut. That's a pretty good thing, I think, especially whenever you kind of needed it to get into the Dream Yard. It worked out pretty well. Not really much after that was needed, but I do think it worked still. But I do think this Patrat plush honestly works pretty well. It's a simple Pokemon, so the fact they did a simple plushie, it looks great in my opinion. I think it's okay. It's a little rounder, which obviously, if you heard my video about the other Pokemon, I do really like my round Pokemon plushies, so I think it works pretty well. And besides that, he's just a very, very simple little guy, and in my opinion, it works. It works for me. It's a very simple Pokemon, very simple plush. That's all you really need, and I think it works great. Next up, we have Lillipup, and the one thing that I'm like, about this Lillipup plushie is the face looks like it's put on there right after, and it's not really attached to the other part of the body, so it kind of makes it look very, very scary. It looks like it kind of has a skin mask right on top of the plushie. If you're okay with that, then I do think this is a pretty good plushie. I do think the plush, the rest of it with the dog body, is perfectly fine. It's a cute little Lillipup plushie. However, it's just kind of hard for me to get over just how scary he kind of looks with that face on. Ugh, man, it's not a good sight for him. But I do think it looks pretty well. Such a cute little guy. Same thing with Patrat. Their colorations work pretty well with each other. So the fact that we were able to get two Pokemon, sadly, with the same coloration, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of over it with the brownish / tannish. So it's pretty cute plushies. However, just a very, very simple. I do think it's more unique than maybe 1 or Set 2. But also, with that being said, it's also not a very unique Pokemon plush set, considering 2 of them out of, 5 are already plushies. So it's kind of hard to really rank their uniqueness above maybe a C. But I do think Lillipup turned out pretty well for what it is. And like I said earlier, I think a few episodes ago, it's a pretty cheap plushie whenever you get. I believe it's under $10 to get back whenever they first came out. So I think if you're okay with that, it works amazing and you can do pretty good things with that. I know that the ones that I got were pretty cheap. I don't know about y'all. Especially right now, you could probably find these guys for pretty cheap. Under like $5 maybe if you're lucky. $10 for the norm. But yeah, pretty good plushie. And next up, the rarest Pokemon plush, I think, from this whole entire set, and that is the Jakks Pacifc Victini. And wow, Jakks Pacifc Victini. Oh man, there is a lot of things I could say. First off, I'm going to say not as good as the 25th anniversary plushies, or the 20th anniversary plushies, I believe they did it, where they did all of the mythical Pokemon. I think that Victini is probably the best one. The coloration, the fabric, it just works perfectly for Victini. However, that being said, this is not a bad plushie at all. I think the only reason I would really want it, and do really want it, is because it is Jakks Pacifc. If it wasn't, I'd be okay without getting it, I'll be honest. Like, Sitting Cutie's one, I don't need. But when it comes to this little guy, he is absolutely adorable. Still, even if he's a top tier plushie, the V is kind of slacking on my opinion. He's not got that very, like, nice, crisp V. It looks kind of saggy, but I do think that is okay. We'll make it work. I do think he has very good coloration. But like I said, the fabric that they use for the Jakks Pacifc plushies aren't as well quality as the 20th anniversary ones. So I do think he kind of lacks in the coloration just because of that. However, for what the plushie was in the time, where it was like a less than $10 one, it still works out. Especially with this being the last set, it does still work pretty well. I could imagine the set being harder to find just because of the fact that it was the last set released. I'm sure X and Y had already been announced and was right around the corner, so they were just kind of finishing the setup. I don't even remember Jakks Pacific having a line after this. I might be wrong. I might want to do some research on that in the future, but I believe Black and White was like the last Jakks Pacific set they ever did, because I believe right after that came out in X and Y, at the X and Y release date, actually, they had Tomy things, so I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So we went from Jakks Pacific for Black and White to Tomy for Generation 6, which, honestly, they're both positives. Maybe in the future I'll like take a look at some other Tomy plushies, but for now, Jakks Pacific ended with this set, and I do think it ended, let's call it a C/B. I don't know, though. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Alright, and I think that covers it for Set 4. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button, subscribe. I would love to see what your favorite is, of course, of this. I'm thinking I'm going to put all these episodes together into just one big episode either next week or the week after, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate this. It's been fun covering every series. I know I was supposed to do it a few months ago, but man, did I kind of drop the ball with that. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I'm gonna get up out of here, but thank y'all, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.